In reality, only a select few individuals hold the power of influence. Not a pounce over a luxury item never to be owned, but real influence over police, governments, and even clandestine fraternities. My true story is so controversial that I invite you to comment and even question my integrity. Episode 13. You sure? My phone was buzzing, another half-dozen phone calls from Fareed. He asked me to meet with him at the Knights Templar pub at 97 Chancery Lane in London. Fareed had nudged Janini to deliver the news on the potential funder. Janini got the drinks in and explained that a friend of hers, Corey, owner of a Bond Street jewellers named Frost of London. Janini explained that she had mentioned Justice on appeal to Corey and his partner, Dino, an ice cream guy. Fucking ice cream guy, fucking hell, right. Okay, I got you now. Your eyes are open now, alright, let's have a look at this. I went down to Bond Street and had a look in the jewellers. I'd already guessed why this outfit had wanted to donate, if nothing else, to manipulate my charity and potentially assist them with their associates, take the power out of it, I guess. Not for the intention of justice, but for the intention of getting people out of jail. I arranged to meet with Corey at Itsu restaurant on 118 Draycott Avenue, SW3. I knew the place well. Remember, it was close to where I lived in Lennox Gardens Mews in Knightsbridge, a short walk down Walton Street. I went into the place and it was closed. They were cleaning up. One of the waiters in there pointed me up the stairs and went to where Corey was sitting. Now I knew what was going to go down here, so I thought to adjust myself into a position of vulnerability so that hopefully Corey stupidly would open up. Went down to a local charity shop. I bought some corduroy trousers, a old knitted jumper. It wasn't a good look, but it was the look I adopted of the belief, and I'm sure it's not, of a lecturer, someone who was a charity owner, hard on money because they'd put everything they'd got into the charity. That's taking nothing away from charities or the people that run them. That's the look I adopted because it was the persona that I wanted Corey to catch up on. And he did. He was sitting there in a chair, rolling back. He thought himself as something of a don. Arms out, sit down, calling over to the waiter. He wasn't really waiting, but he called over to him anyway. Oh, get this man a drink. A soft drink, I'll have a water, thank you. Added a few teas to my accent. He asked as many questions as he could muster before getting to the point where Justice on appeal could help his friends in prison. That's what we do, I flippantly replied, and trying not to laugh to spoil his theatre. Well, mate, Dino and I are prepared to donate 15 grand to your charity, Darren. And it's not only for my friends, but, I've got a bit of a soft spot for Janini, Well, look, Corey, that's all between you. Insofar as a donation, we're very grateful. And I'll have a document prepared and emailed over for you to consider. Janini can be your point of contact if that's what you prefer, and certainly as she's made the introduction. Shortly after, on the 25th of November 2010, Janini emailed me. You'll realise why I plotted the date and time. Hi Darren, just to let you know, Corey signed the 15 grand contract. I just need to run around today as I've got a hospital appointment, then I'll have to pick up my brother. Then I have uni until 9 p.m, so I can come and drop it off to you tomorrow. Regards, Jan. Unquote. Well, look, this was a great relief, and I thought it will keep us going for a couple of months. As I said, the money from Olympus Europe had almost dissipated. Bert had now been moved to HMP Latchmere House in Richmond, Ham, and I was then contacted by someone named Kevin Craigie, who was previously a founder member of Jengba, who I'll now adopt the name Agenda rather than Jengba. This is the mole I'd been expecting, the mole that had been mentioned to me by Karen Horlock, who was very helpful to me, not only for introducing me to the funder, but introducing me potentially to someone who wanted a way into my charity, for and on behalf of Agenda. I visited Kevin Craig at his home up north somewhere, and he seemed to have an interest in fighting for justice. That may be the case, but he was certainly a mole, so I was told. I had an eye on him, and I was still in the courts. He told me he was disappointed with Gloria Morrison and Woofington, and their real agenda was political, and for the far left of the Labour Party. I knew that already. He then said that the final straw for him came when hearing of inmates frustrated of being unable to get their cases reviewed, and the Agenda was using their or leveraging their claims to look at these cases in order to get support in the same way, I suppose, that Sir Michael Napier had thought I was. In Agenda's case, it was very real. They were looking for prisoners to give them support and power. At this same moment, Fareed, Giannini and others, they were becoming a bit quiet. And I just thought they were busy at uni. Kevin asked me to move an alleged North London drug baron and murderer, Paul Cleland, at his home in Folkestone. Now, Paul had served over 20-odd years, 25 years or approximately, in an ACAT prison for the murder of Terence Clark. I went down and met with Paul and had a chat with him, and he said, look, you're a trusted mate in these areas of business, let's say, and I want to get my story out there. So is there anything you can do for me? He said, I've got a Doughty Street battle. I said, oh, fucking hell. I hope it's not Jennifer. Don't need to be put back in the rounds with everyone again. It was a QC. Well, I knew that was not her at that point, and a male. Fitzgerald, I think, at the time. I just want to get this out. He said, you understand. He said, how difficult this are. The old bill stopping every stage. And my case is no different. So I've got a lot to say, mate, he said. And if you can arrange it, he said, I'll be well pleased with you. I was intrigued. I thought, what's he got to say? I knew that Janini had a budding film company and she would have had access to a film crew. Of course she did. Professional cameras, this, that and the other. Didn't need any lighting. It wasn't something like that. It wasn't going anywhere. Social media wasn't anything like it is today. It would have just been a post on YouTube or something like that, or somewhere else. I met with Janini and she agreed. Her film company was named Fuego Fire Limited. We went down to Paul's home, Fareed, Janini, a couple of other students, all excited to be involved in this, and rightly so. Part of the reason for setting up Justice on Appeal was to assist budding legals in giving them real life experience in criminal cases, meeting with those in prison, taking statements, listening to stories, real life. And that's what worried a lot of people, certainly Sir Michael Napier and the pro bono envoy. And even more so because he was forming pro bono law works, and the pro bono unit was the other guy I already mentioned. Kate Walmsley was just there to see and pass back any information previously. They were all interested. Everyone was. Justice on Appeal was making waves, good waves, but not for them. As we sat down, the camera crew clicked the button. Now, in these cameras, there were tapes, like old cassette tapes, small, similar size. We had a load of them. That one was inserted into a pocket inside the camera, and we began. Now, Paul Cleland started talking about his case, ticking along, an hour and a half in. Great, took the cassette out, put it in my pocket. They put another one in. He then started blowing up all the people he'd been to jail with. Look, he said, the real IRA, their accountants, named them all. Fucking hell, what's he up to? What's the blow up the IRA? Name them, shame them. I'm fucking having none of that. None of that, because it would have been me that got fucking blown up. Let's have it right. No one's going to fucking suffer that. The other thing I couldn't work out whilst I'm daydreaming, listen to this nonsense from him, was why did he come to Justice on Appeal when he had one of the most respected criminal barristers in England working for him, Edward Fitzgerald QC of Doughty Street Chambers? I come out of there, I put all these tapes in my pockets, 4 of them. One with nothing on it, 3 others, fucking terrible. He named everyone, put them right in it. So I took another 3 blanks. So can I have them? I said to the, he said, yeah, didn't look at me, he didn't say, oh, we're going to get someone else. I thought, so I'm not going to get into it. We got into the car. As we did, some of the students sadly said, oh, are we going to die? I said, what do you mean? He said, well, are we going to get killed? Like, that was pretty heavy, man. I was like, no, you're not going to die. I said, this is just a geezer who's just fucking rolling off. I said, I don't know what truth is in it. I don't care. I said, but then these tapes ain't going nowhere. I said, the only one that could is that nonsense one at the beginning about his case. Well, everyone knows what his case is, so there's nothing in that. I said, the others are going to get told. Really? I said, yeah. So I took them out in front of them and I smashed them to fucking pieces. Smashed them to 3. The other 2, I kept, plus the one of his case, I kept. Now, at that same time, Bert was introduced me to a very senior armed robber from North London. Someone he was in with, Jewish guy. And him and his crew, he's away, so it's not an allegation. He was prosecuted for it, convicted of it. Carried out one of the biggest armed robberies in the UK. And I'm going to call him Floffy, the Jewish armed robber. Now, Floffy and his mates, his crew, came and visited me down at Fulham. And they were talking to me and they said, oh, yeah, Justice on Appeal, brilliant. Yeah, we'd like to support all that. He said, like, we want to appeal our case. We think it's a load of rubbish. That's all right. You know, that's what we do. If that's what you think, then we'll have a look at it for you. Well, how about this other thing you're dealing with? You know, this, you got a big claim in, yeah, Magnet, 50 million. I looked up, I thought, fucking, they're going to fucking wrap me up. Fucking kidnap me, these guns. Try and get this fucking dough out of me. So I said, yeah. I said, not much happening with it. I said, I'm going to need a few quid to bring it right, and I've got this charity to deal with. Oh, yeah, keep us in the loop, mate. Yeah, we'll be very interested in that one. By the way, if you need any other help, like, we've got a couple of pals in high places who could really fucking do you a few favours. Go on, I said. Well, these two characters, let's say. Well, not just characters. One of them was Dave Morris and the other was Kevin Jenkins. Both ex-coppers. Essex and the Met. Fucking, what's going on here? I've got this fucking arm robber introducing me to fucking old Bill. No, mate, that's not happening. So just as I was about to fuck them all off, I said, all right, look, yeah, let's meet up with them. So they came down, Dave and Kevin, met me at the office, talking away. Oh, we're ex-police. I said, I'm sure you know. Yeah, I know all that, mate, I know all that. We both formed this SIP, Specialist Intervention Providers. We work with hard-to-reach individuals, right-wing extremists, terrorism and all that. Oh, lovely, yeah. That's all I fucking need. So everything else going on, he's fucking couple of proper old Bill fucking wrapping around me. It soon appeared that along with agenda, that I was being placed firmly at the centre, with the far left on one hand and the far right on the other. Is it a little wonder that I stood in the middle of them, the middle ground? It seemed to me that their motives or excuses or whatever you want to call it, their pitch to me was that one of my companies that was carrying out and developing apprenticeships in construction, they wanted me to place these extremists and potentially extremists that had been turned or corrupted into right-wing extremism into my company to fucking get to know them and get to filter their extreme ways away. Fuck me. All right. I thought I was just going to take on kids that were interested in fucking work in the building gang, which is still good because a lot of kids didn't know whether they wanted construction or sales. It took them off the street. It gave them something to do, some training, something to think about. And the way I saw it was, if we got some of them that were interested, that weren't previously interested or not, great. If we didn't and they trained and they said, well, we've tried it and we didn't like it, well, that's another informed decision because they weren't wasting their time in construction. They were going to something else and vice versa. Now I'm being asked by a 2-senior-old Bill to fucking put extremists into my business. Look, they said, we'd like you to meet with someone. He's at the absolute top of SO15. What's SO15? I said, no. He said, that's the extremism, terrorism branch of the police. Oh, it's just fucking beautiful. I thought, it's getting better. They arranged a meeting with a guy, Sergeant Paul Barry, who was the community and partnership at SO15 and the Channel Project, which I'll get into in a minute. It was based at the 11th floor on the Empress State Building, Lily Road, London, SW6. Now, the Channel Project was a newish initiative by the Met Police to engage the most wanted extremists and de-radicalise them. I met up with Paul on the 24th floor, I think it was, at the same building, and he explained the country's overseas defence plans. Now I thought, what's he fucking talking to me? They can't be looking at me if he's sitting here talking to me and wants to be in and fucking this, or are they going to get me in and absolutely fucking ring me out? Do you know what I mean? It's like, fucking, it's going from bad to worse, or is it just good? Of course, I want to do something for my country. In addition to fucking the rugby fans fucking plan. It's just serious. I went back to the office. As I arrived, a welcoming smile made me giggle from Juanita, and Jan was there. She asked if I was okay. There's a man from the Police Federation waiting for you in reception. You really? And this was a female. She called herself Lee Walker from Norfolk. Wendy, my PA, receptionist, handed me her CV and about 15 minutes ahead of her to have a little read-up. Quote from her CV. Extensive experience dealing with people and excellent interpersonal skills. Fully computer literate, clean driver's license, willing to travel. It was when I kept reading down that my eyes lit up. Detective Constable of the National Crime Squad, reporting to Area Commander and the inspection in charge of the Division, Drug Squad, Norfolk Constabulary, Detective Senior Constable, CID Norwich. It's a serious copper. Now things are getting fucking serious, as if they weren't already. I had a chat with Lee and, agreed to meet her halfway between London and Norwich. As I let her go, Wendy's looked up screaming. She's on the phone. What? You're being chased? She's talking to someone. I looked out the window on the Putney Bridge station behind me. I could see a man sprinting with 2 men chasing him. The man being chased was my next meeting. And he was trying to evade capture whilst he was looking for directions and talking to Wendy on the phone, who was bringing him to the building. He got inside and calmed down. He's sweating, gave him a glass of water. Sorry about that, Darren. I've been living in Hong Kong for a while, and I was walking past the Eight Bells pub where 2 little oiks who I'd previously interviewed about 10 years ago recognised me and began to shout and chase me. Police? I replied. No, something else they called me. I knew what the word was and laughed. I meant him, of course. But in his exhaustion, he just clouded his head. It just spooked him. He was also keen to work for the charity. There was a lot of people interested in working for the charity, and one of which was a Mr. Julian Panayotto, founder of the IPSG, Independent Police Support Group. Fuck me. I am getting involved with these fucking people are jumping in on me. As the door was open with Kevin and Dave fucking in, flooded the fucking senior old Bill. Look, Julian, mate, we don't defend any paedophiles or we don't do any prosecutions, mate. We defend criminal cases, don't touch Bacons, don't touch fucking old Bill. Yeah, but like, the police in this case are whistleblowers and like, they need a bit of support, a bit of help. I don't give a fuck. Well, you may know people from Canning that, let's just say some of these people want to blow up in their whilst. I thought, fuck me, I would like to know that. I thought, no, I can't. Look, all the old people, no, it ain't happening. So I said, look, I can't get involved in what you're doing, mate. I was in the middle of a tornado of events. I had fucking agenda, Corey, the Attorney General, the head of Pro Bono Unit and Law Works, leaders at the Law Society, police, security services, all fucking into me. All right, yes, I let them wander in, but fuck me, what were they fucking coming in for? I listened to him some more, Julian, and told him I couldn't help him. He said, well, I've got this employment matter. I was ousted from the police. I thought, oh, that's a great story, isn't it? I was ousted from the police, and once I was fucking a right wrong and nicking people, now I'm a changed man, only because you got fucked. That's why you want my help. Not interested. I kept things busy, concentrating on the cases, Bedford Uni, BPP, all the students looking at visiting the jails, going through them. We were finding things, it was brilliant to watch these young people at work, their minds active, interested, willing. They just wanted something to get their teeth into, and I had the thing that they needed, the food that they wanted to revel in. They were loving it. The word was going out. And this was upsetting all the other agencies, the agencies with agenda, because they wanted to control things. They wanted to use these prisoners as a weapon for their own benefit, a political benefit, the Labour Party. I had an email from Kevin Craigie on the 30th of May 2011. Gloria's contacting the members of her organisation, telling them you're a con man and you're trying to take advantage of vulnerable prisoners. What? Yeah, Yvonne Ballardini and Janet Cunliffe, members of Agenda Committee, are also circulating emails attacking Justice on Appeal. Gloria's has stated just that she's going to destroy your reputation. She was the only one who would be promoting joint enterprise. What do you mean joint enterprise? Well, that's her thing. She's grounded up a couple of peers and all the rest of it, and they're going to fucking drive this joint enterprise thing in. All right, thanks for the heads up, mate. I thought, why's he giving me the heads up? He's a fucking meant to be wrong, isn't he? Anyway, Karen Horlock came to me again and said, look, Agenda are not doing nothing for my son's case, Kelvin. Can you have a look at it for me? I said, all right, we'll have a look for you. I called up a very highly respected chambers, number 5 chambers in Birmingham, and spoke with Harry Lally, Harbinder Singh Lally, Harry Lally, Asian guy. Meant to be a good barrister, a bit of a maverick, we like that. I went up to see him. I also arranged a meeting with a guy called Ross Patel, the owner of Offences Forensics based in Liverpool. I met him in Liverpool on the way. We first met at his offices and he talked about the cell site analysis and the expertise he had for the Horlock case. Ross went on to tell me he just delivered ethical hacking, a model for the police, and he'd been testing it with Mersey police on a free trial basis. Ethical hacking, he explained at the time, was a covert means of obtaining the login and password of a suspect and then venture in and around the emails of the subjects and see what they were doing. Ethical hacking isn't hacking just hacking. No, this is ethical hacking. We're doing it because we want to find out, all right, you decide the difference. To me, you're hacking people's computers without their knowledge, without a warrant, and you're going in and you're seeing what they're up to. Yeah, so I knew that he was leaning towards the blue side of life, the old Bill. Nevertheless, he was an expert witness, and some of these experts, one day they're working for the police and one minute they're working for the defence. That's how they work. Some of them. Some don't. Some concentrate on one way or the other, but this, mostly they do. I needed a heavyweight lead barrister, lead counsel for Horlock, and chose Ian Goldrain, QC. I also met with him and Harry and we discussed the case. We went down to the Royal Courts of Justice for the event, and Horlock was supposed to be the leader of the gang that killed this guy. Horlock was the person that Goldrain and Lally were representing. Justice on Appeal were there to support and gather some evidence and assist them. The co-defendants, one of them had a Mr. Kerry Hughes, KC, who was funded by legal aid. As we were talking, the judge asked about the legal aid before anything else, and it transpired that Kelvin had told them all to fuck off, or words to that effect, when they were talking about legal aid, so he didn't have any. Now, you'd expect, and I wouldn't criticise any barrister for saying, look, we come here with a view on pay, legal aid, but now there is none, we're going to leave you to it. These two didn't. These two were proper. Ian Goldrain, QC, and Harry Lally. They stood there. They said, look, I'll tell you what we're here now. We know the papers. Look, we'll work out another time later or whatever you want to do, but we're here to represent someone and we're going to do that. Fair play to the man. But before they could do much more, Kerry Hughes came in and had a ground of appeal that was interesting for his client. And if he was interesting for his client, it affected all of them. His appeal in the basic terms was that he saw that in the summing up for these convicted murderers, there was no reference to intent or intentionally. The judge had not mentioned the word intent or the word intentionally in his summing up. Well, if there's no intent, there's no crime. It was a technicality, but it was a powerful one. So powerful that he won that appeal. The case is cited as A and Ors, in brackets, Joint Enterprise v. R, 2010, EWCA Crim 1622 on the 15th of July 2010. Karen Orlock was over the moon. Not because we hadn't solved it. Kerry Hughes has. Fair's fair, he did it. Good luck. Well, smart man. But she was happy that we were there to support. I had to defend my own case of fraud. You'll remember Clark, Jameson, Kerry Wilkinson, and others had gone about their business to bring me down. I couldn't work it out then. It was all moody. But I was nowhere near finding out. I just had to go through the process. I'd originally instructed Bird solicitors, but then I found that he was a member of the London Criminal Court Solicitors Association. I looked them up on the internet and found that Paul Harris was the chairman. So I went local, just up the road from Bird's, and instructed Mr. Hamid Iqbal, principal solicitor at Southfield Solicitors at West Hill, Wandsworth. Now, I asked to meet him and discuss my own criminal case. And I thought not to use the assistance of Justice on Appeal, which I could have done, because the purpose of that was to work on cases that had been settled and on appeal. Those were the terms, and those were those that I looked at and upheld. I delivered all that I had, any legal papers, bank statements. This is fraud, so obviously finance is going to be a focus of a fraud off. Mr. Iqbal pointed me to a cupboard as we're sitting on the ground floor of his office, just in front of the entrance. He turned around to me and said, "Look, I'll place your documents securely in our safe over there." And he pointed to the cupboard. He walked over to it and opened two doors. Behind it was a safe, big safe. It's behind that panel. Look, in an alleged case of fraud, I was comforted that this Mr. Iqbal had taken things seriously and he was going to put my documents away for safekeeping. I said, "Do you not want to take a photocopy first?" And he said, No, you don't need to go to the expense of that first. There's a safe," he said. "Couldn't be safer in there." So with that, I left my couple of boxes with him, all my papers in there, everything I had, my defence, and left. As I was walking down the room, my phone rang. "Mum." "Dale, look, come over quick. I found something. You won't fucking believe it. You won't, honestly. Get over here now, quick. I've got some evidence. Blow you away." Couldn't believe it. Rushed over there, got in a car, sped over there, got into the mum's place, sat down, nervous, excited. "Sit down, look, there, on the computer. Alleged murder in Tenerife in 1997. The alleged culprit of this was a guy called Darren James Sapstead of Thornborough Avenue, Southwold and Ferrers, Chelmsford. Now, according to the press, it was alleged that Darren Sapstead had killed a man in Tenerife on a booze cruise. The deceased's name was Mr. Wharton, Gary Wharton, of County Waterford, in Ireland, who was on holiday in Tenerife at the time. The story went that there was a booze cruise and they were all on there drinking and there were some girls there, and for some strange reason, allegedly, an argument transpired between Darren Sapstead and Gary Wharton, and Gary Wharton was thrown overboard. All denied by Mr. Sapstead, of course. Now, there was mention that Darren Sapstead tried to help and threw a life ring in after him. After searching the local area and searching the boat, there was no life ring found, and every life ring that was associated to the boat was in its place. I won't go into the particulars of it, but the reason that this was so important was that Darren Sapstead was sitting at the bar in the village inn, now named the Stone's Throw, or later named the Stone's Throw, and ran off. He was sitting literally round the corner to where my brothers were sitting. Remember, the helicopter was following a number of men outside, 5 men who ran off. Wicks, was it Wicks, McCleary, McGrath? All of them were arrested and charged with murder, by the way. You know the rest of the story, how they were walked out and some left and all the rest of it. PII was there, I don't know. We'll get to that. In this instance, my mum has picked up on a point where Darren Sapstead, on the night, was on bail for murder in a murder case. He gave evidence at my brother's trial whilst on bail for murder. The police mentioned none of it. Wicks was on bail for drugs and violence offences at that time as well. He was given bail whilst on bail in a murder case. Essex Police. There was witnesses. They went to court and they gave evidence against Sapstead. And yet all of this just filtered away because there were allegations of intimidating witnesses. Oh, we've heard all that before. Big boys, intimidating witnesses. When they come and see us, we're not intimidated. Tell them to fuck off, like we used to. Anyway, we were on a roll. And in amongst all of the other dramas going on, still the old bill were floating around and it all still going on. We were back in focus on my brother's case. Now, I'd been in communication with Martin Rackstraw of Russell Cook, and they'd arranged a conference with James Sturman, QC then, who was supposed to be the highest paid criminal barrister in the UK after receiving £1 million in legal aid funding for a single year's work. We met up and explained the issues regarding the case and everything else, Giovanni and everything. Sturman adopted his position and we put the points to him on appeal. I explained the statement Poirot took regarding Brand to the police, or intimidation and pressure, and the statement they asked us and all that. His eyes had popped out of his head. Surely not. You don't have it with you, do you? Of course we do. You opened a small file. I slid it across the boardroom table. His eyes fucking popped. His jaw dropped. He was flicking side to side. It's too big for us, he said. We're not dealing with that. This evidence claims the police are corrupt. We don't want to get involved in all that. Her evidence was given to the jury at trial, and it might be said that she's flaky and inconsistent if trying to push the point before a court of appeal. Anything else you got? We just looked at each other and no thanks, no, that'll be enough. If you're not prepared to do that, then no, that's fine. We got them left. When we got back, I thought to give a call and retain all of our depositions, papers, etc. It couldn't have been many of them because, sure, they were doing all the work and they hadn't contacted us with anything they had. I thought to call them on a Friday afternoon. I'd had some luck with that in the past because that was the time when all these solicitors and barristers went off for what we call liquid lunch. 3, 4, 5, potentially more hours in the pub on a Friday afternoon. At these usual times, we'd have an intern or a temporary staff member or other friendly assistant who wanted to impress their bosses sitting there at the phone. That was a great moment to get in and get the information. Called them about 1 o'clock, 1:05. I explained to this young girl that I'd asked for an important box of evidence to be collected and wondered if she could help me. Oh, I'll wait there, I'll have a look. Stay there, I'll be right back. Funny that, she said there is a box here. It's under one of the partners' desks, which is destined for immediate storage, according to the post-it note on top. Can you just confirm the name of the person that we're referring to? I did, but I couldn't believe it. A box of papers. They could have only had like a handful of papers. There was potential material I hadn't seen. I'm going too far now. Might be just a number of photocopies. That maybe the box is a matchbox. I don't know. But when she's talking about box, I'm thinking of a box. Big box. Hopeful more than anything else. I try to remain calm. Look, can I come and get it? I said. Well, I don't know. I haven't had any authority from my bosses. Look, it's important. If I don't collect that, I'm going to be in big trouble, I said to her. I was fucking on a whim. Okay. There's no one here right now, but you can come and collect it. I'll be here till 5:30. Yeah. After that, I'll be gone. The phones will be turned over to answer phone, and it's the weekend. If I don't get that box, they'll all return on Monday and fucking that box will disappear, or whatever will disappear. Or I'll be there, I replied. And I knew that I wouldn't be there on time because I had to get from where I was in Wandsworth over to fucking Bedford Row, the centre of London, on a Friday afternoon. The other thing was that I had an old Beamer, an old BMW 3 Series, the one I had the heart attack in. Automatic, still ticking over, but barely, as was I. I raced through London, raced and beer tooted up and fought my way through the traffic and just got through ourselves there. Mum in the car. As I got outside, I phoned the main switchboard. I was late. I got there at 5:30 on the dot. I thought, fuck it, she's probably gone. They've been waiting to go home on obviously Friday. Everyone is. The phone system had been transferred for the weekend. I couldn't believe it. Couldn't wait till Monday. They'd all fucking parked this fucking box. I'm sure of it. As I'm sitting there across the road, wondering what to do next for the best, thinking that this box is going to be disappearing from me, a man walked out with a fold-away bike under his arm, ran towards him, which unnerved him. It would, wouldn't it? Run across a little road, and he's putting chain guards on his trousers. And instead of allowing the door closer to bring the entrance door to a lateral locking position, when he see me run, he pulled the fucking door shut. Oh, fuck, I said out loud. And he was just about to throw himself on his bike and ride off. I grabbed the handlebar. I said, hang on a minute, mate. Look, I'm a courier. I'm here late. I've got to collect a box from the receptionist. If I don't get this box back to my governor, will fucking sack me. And my family will starve, governor. Oy vey, I'm on the street. Oh, Oliver, fucking, la 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 la. I'm giving it to him. Fucking. He took pity, fortunately. All right, he said. Got on his phone. Phoned upstairs. He noticed that the intercom, so he buzzed the door. Nothing. He looked at me and you could see my look on my face, so he took a key out. What did he fucking do that before? I thought. I think he was just checking if I was kosher or not. Unlocked the door, put his bike in the hallway, didn't trust me, I'm fucking in a drive, I don't know what was fucking going on. With that, the door opened again, there's a female standing, a young female, much as I'd imagined her, holding a big box. It was a big box. Post-it note on the top. Can you just sign here? She said, you've taken it. I said, fuck, of course I can. Sign the top. Oh, I bet their faces are fucking when they see I picked it up. I got in the car. I drove home. We left the box as it was. I just wanted to get in and get through the papers. I didn't want them sitting there in the back of the car, floating around. We got upstairs, made a coffee as we go through the papers. In the side, there's a package. I opened the package. There's 2 DVD cassettes. One of them has got handwritten on it, Wicks. I didn't know what was on it. Wicks. It was Wicks. Cassette with Wicks on it in there. There were letters in there. One of them to the Chief Crown Prosecutor of Essex. A letter that asked for a copy of the helicopter video. I thought that was all disappeared. I thought no one knew about it. And this was a letter from 2002, so many years before. Quote, the letter in December the 20th, 2002, where Mr. Bell, Chief Prosecutor of Essex, said to Mr. Cabman, "Dear sirs, in the matter of with reference to your letter dated the 5th of December and previous correspondence, I've contacted the officer in charge of this investigation, D.S. Graham Carter. He has no recollection of a police helicopter featuring in this case. I've pursued the schedule of unused material on the CPS file. There is no reference to any such item. The only video of which I'm aware was taken by the police scenes a crime officer at the public house where the murder took place. A copy of which is enclosed." I fucking rambled through it. And another package. The soccer video. The video of inside the pub. Fucking hell. What'd I find? I didn't know what was on it. I think just the pub in it. But I thought, fucking hell, I could get a snapshot of the scene at the moment. Scene's a crime video. Mr. Bell continued in his letter, quote, D.S. Carter has confirmed that all items of unused material that have been retained in connection with this case are in storage in a depot in Essex. I anticipate that all police records pertaining to the prosecution will also be preserved there. Inspection of stored items is not readily arranged due to the necessity of preserving security at the depot. The procedure would be for all case papers to be recorded, which has implications in terms of police resources. It would greatly assist if I could indicate, by way of view of exhibits, certain items may no longer be in police possession. Finally, he concluded, quote, from inquiries that have been made, it appears that Kerry Agenbar and Stacey Westfeld no longer reside at the address at which they were living during the trial. Their present whereabouts is unknown to the officer. Now, neither Martin Rackstraw, Russell Cook or anyone else that made us aware of any of these videos or these letters. Not only that, but they'd failed to mention a helicopter video they were chasing, soccer video. Why hadn't Paul Harris mentioned any of these? Carter Stevenson. It only could have come from them, couldn't they? The thing was, we had all this potential material. I say potential, it's a long shot in it. The police have corrupted this case. No doubt they would have corrupted these tapes. We've got 2 tapes in front of us. One with Wicks on it and one with Socko. I went down the road and bought a video recorder. DVD VHS recorder, because we didn't have one with a DVD Ray player or something like that alone. What I wanted to do was to look at the VHS and potentially record it into a better format. This was a great find. Heart was beating faster, faster. What is in this package? We opened the package, and inside was a white cassette. At the top left, it had the Essex Police Air Support Unit emblem. Essex Police Air Support Unit, Old Control Tower, Boreham Airfield, Waltham Road, Boreham, Essex, CM3, 3BG. It was what was underneath. It still wrecks me today. In bold letters, underlined, exclamation mark. This tape must not be used for evidential purposes. What the fuck? This tape doesn't appear anywhere in the case. We have a letter from the head of the CPS, the Crown Prosecution Service of England, stating that there is no video and that when checking with the officer in charge, D.S. Carter, Graham Carter, he also confirms that there is no video, helicopter video, and there's no reference to one in any of the unused material. And yet I'm looking at one with a big, black, bold mark on it. The words saying, this tape must not be used for evidential. I fucking couldn't believe it. Worse than that, as I read on, the typed words with hand signatures next to it. This videotape is a copy from an ASU recording. The original tape is stored at the ASU. Please return this copy tape as soon as it's been finished with. The officer in charge of the case or receiving officer is held responsible for this video. You'll never guess who signed it. D.S. Carter. The officer receiving the tape, D.C. Hunt. South Ockenden, Grays, murder. Fucking corruption. Corruption. Essex police corruption. In our faces. We had it. Hiding a helicopter video. But what was on it? Okay, I'm looking at the tape. Opened it up quick. The tape's in there. Oh, what's on it? As I put it on, it was, as you'd imagine, as you've seen in most of the TV programs, a police helicopter. The helicopter QH-99 reference. It was flying above the pub and following 5 individuals who were running away from the scene, glowing their heat imagery. The thing was that this tape had been so badly tampered with that you could barely see it had been absolutely destroyed. I sent it to Ross Patel at Offences for further investigations, and his comments were that this tape had been professionally tampered with, the intent to remove the evidence. I then played the Wicks video. The Wicks video was Wicks' interview at Southend Police Station, where we watched on our TV as the police brought him into the interview room, the witnesses coming in, picking him out. Oh, it was fucking all Christmas and birthdays at once. The only thing greater was the birth of my daughter. And I don't say that lightly. As we lifted the papers up, we didn't get through, but we just picked the first few papers up and then these videos and just got through them. We didn't go to the bottom of the box. Big box. You thought we'd have thrown everything out. But we went through more. There was another tape in there. The scenes of crime video. The video that was mentioned. Right at the very bottom. The very bottom. This video was inside the pub. It started at the big pool area right at the back of the pub. And as we watched, we could see several white wraps, cocaine wraps, broken glasses, ashtrays, blood all over the floor and bar. This is around the pool table. This was never mentioned at the trial. This is where Wicks and his mates were, and the travellers who disappeared. And Saps did. None of this was mentioned. None of this violence, whatever was going on up there was... Remember, Wicks was charged and on bail for cocaine possession. We got wraps around the seat he was claimed to be sitting in. None of these things were tested. Or they might have been tested, but not mentioned at trial. Of course they weren't. Wicks was let walk through the trial. This was major. This was major. As the camera is panning around the pub, he's walking around, there was a massive blood spill on the tiles at the bar exactly where Sapstill was meant to be sitting. It was definitely a major injury. It wasn't a few dabs of blood, which was all around the other end of the pub. This was a pool of blood. There was a major fight that night. The thing is that Bert and Paul were only convicted of what happened outside the pub, nothing inside the pub. The prosecution and defence agreed that, admitted that. Both my brothers were only convicted outside. Of course they was. So what was going on inside? The police assisted all of the witnesses inside to this fight because they'd have just said, these 2 guys didn't do it, that cunt did it. And what about the car run over the body? That would have acquitted everyone. The problem there was, who drove it? Was it the copper that pulled up, Mr. Cooper, and drove round the block, as in his statement? He just have a look around. Of course he didn't have a look around what was going on. He fucking was checking that he hadn't been fucking rumbled. Oh yeah, I didn't tell you I knew the name of the cop who was driving the car pulled up at the bus stop, did I? We were getting very good at this investigation game. It was no game though. The soccer video continued. Travelled behind the bar and you wouldn't believe it. As it did, you could see the till. You remember the till that was meant to be broken, damaged beyond repair, on the floor, so much so that the police couldn't get any evidence of the drinks from the till rolls? It was on the fucking back bar, with the lights on. Exactly where it was meant to be. It wasn't on the floor. This video is being taken, according to the video footage, at the bottom right-hand corner, 11th of the 3rd, 98, 10:30 at night. It's in there as quick. The incident happens from 7:30 till 8. So it's there very quickly after taping. Fucking hell. No surprise, but fucking hell. Essex Police went to extreme lengths to protect Wicks. Extreme. Why? Who was their informant? Who was on their knock list? Who was so important to them? Who was giving evidence against local criminals and others? Putting them away, banging them up, helping the police? The supergrass. Who was it? Did we already know? Did we already suspect people? Well, you fucking know we do. But let's go a bit further before we reveal who they are. This was just the icing on the cake. We couldn't take our eyes off it. Our mouths a gasp. As the video's continuing, just beyond the bar, it goes into the cellar where the attempted murder, supposedly, James Buckingham was committed. Blood everywhere. The door opening the other way round. Well, it was Buckingham's evidence that the door opened inwards. So he put his back behind it to ward off anyone fighting. It's untrue. The door opened the other way round. We knew that. We did the refurb, remember? We knew which way the door opened because we fucking hung it. Here's the soccer video supporting what we knew. But yet the police denied all that, said it was the other way around. In their evidence, in their sworn statements, in their live evidence, in examination. Corruption, major. What are we going to do with these tapes? Well, I've been on a roll for a long time. It kept her busy, it kept her interested. D.S. Carter died on the 12th of March 2004, 6 years and a day after the index offence. So he's unable to respond. But if his family or anyone else want to, come and do it. Show you exactly what you want to look at. We had the videos tested. Now, the helicopter video, according to Ross Patel, had been professionally corrupted. Now, the Socko video, it transpired, had a date at the bottom. The recorder's running, it's natural, it's recording. 11th of the 3rd, 98, beginning at 10:30. DC Hunt, the same DC Hunt on the helicopter video that was denied. Hand signed by him, scenes of crime officer. In his statement, he said that he was there at midnight. Well, we'd put that to the CCRC and they said, it must have been a fault with the video recorder. Oh, fuck, no, the video recorder's saying that. His statement saying that. The CCR didn't want to deal with that. I was nicked, remember, shortly after putting that appeal in. I'm not going backwards, I'm just filling in some of the blanks as I get to the points, as we got to them. That's the way I'm doing it, in the way that it came to us. Soccer video corrupted. Ross Patel's evidence was that the first minute of the soccer video, scenes of crime video, was a correct minute in time. Tested, it was a full proper minute. But every other minute thereafter was different. Clearly the police had manipulated and fabricated and corrupted these key evidence. Not least the till. They didn't want the defence. It wasn't a defence. The defence team knew what happened. They run this autonomous defence. It's just a moody defence. They had Paul admit to responsibility after taking him off his medication because it implicated Bert. Can you see it now? How they manipulated this case for the help of Wicks and his family. And potentially, it seems, Saps did. All right, we've got some shit going down here. It's funny, though, that in his book, Catching Monsters, at page 283, Bright says, Jim's decision to aim for the cellar was pure luck, nothing more, nothing less. This is a quote. He had never been in the pub before, it's a lie, but let's say Bright didn't know that. And had he gone anywhere else, he would have died. But Bert and Paul chased after him. But Jim managed to reach the cellar door, push it open, and once through the door, he closed it behind him. It's not true. It didn't shut behind him. It opened inwards to the pub. Bright led this case. He knew what was going on. Let him say something about it. Come forward, Mr. Bright. Say something. Defend yourself. That's a challenge to you. From me. It's all corrupt. Michelle Brand's statement. Westfield didn't give Edwards mouth to mouth. She won an award for it. Bravery award. Before changing her name. Edwards' mouth pouring blood. She's there looking at a junkie laying on the floor with blood pouring from it. Do you think she obviously gave fucking mouth to mouth? Come on. She said she didn't. She took the award though. Took the cash. 10 grand from the award. So we're told. Allegation. Deny it. It's all adding up. You'll remember David Martin Sperry, who was acting pro bono after giving Giovanni Di Stefano £10,000, or so I thought, to get a barrister. That's what he told me. He also told me he was a solicitor. He also told me, as was confirmed by Paul Martin, that they were working together, Studio Legale International, on the headed paper of Paul Martin & Co. Solicitors. Paul Martin & Co. Solicitors being Wick's trial solicitor. We had a look back at David Martin Sperry's evidence. He was legitimately finding things wrong with it. That's why he stopped. It wasn't because Bert had been released from prison only a few years in. No, it was because he was finding things. Giovanni didn't want him to find things because his friend Paul Martin didn't want him to find things. We contacted George Carter Stevenson and asked him about this. In his email of 22nd of June 2006 from Bedford Road, Jackie Chase at Bedford Road Chambers, he said, quote, "As you'll appreciate from our recent short phone call, I can no longer have a detailed recollection of your brother's case, it being so long ago. In relation to matters you raise in email, I do vaguely have a short conversation with, I believe, David Spence, who was at that stage dealing with Bert's case. I believe that the subject matter of the telephone call was the presence of prostaglandin in Bert's blood. It was not something I can remember us having evidence of at trial. However, we did call, at Bert's trial, Professor Forrest, who was one of the foremost toxicologists in the country. My memory of the evidence that he gave, that it was principally focused around the presence of diazepam and its effects in combination with other drugs in your brother's bloodstream. Well, he's just saying he's looking at something else. He just palmed it off. Didn't deal with the precisely in the other place. Should have said something like, "Well, that's a great thing, isn't it? God, you've got an appeal ground there." We didn't know that. Of course they knew it. They were reading the same documents as I'm reading. The difference being they are leading barristers. I'm a carpenter chasing up a case, investigating at will, because I want to save my family from all this shit. Corruption, Essex Police, CCRC interrogation, senior cross-border police, MI6. You say what you want. I'll get to it all. These are the foundations. It builds and it builds. You think it's built already? No, we haven't got there yet. I'm building it. I'm building it in the way that I experienced it. I'm trying hard not to give you the ends, but enjoyable at the same time. Now it is, not then. George Carter Stevenson continues in the same email, quote, "In relation to the other matter mentioned, as I explained on the telephone, I have no memory of the prosecution's ex-brother-in-law being on the jury. Had this been the case, I feel sure that it would have been challenged by myself as Bert's defence counsel. My memory now in relation to the events surrounding Craig Wicks at the trial was that the judge ruled inadmissible certain parts of the prosecution case against him. I believe that we, on behalf of Bert, obtained a statement that implicated Wicks in relation to the killing, but we were unable to use it. I hope this assists." Listen in to each episode as I engage you in my personal journey of how a boy growing up on a council estate in Essex would eventually own the most exclusive online private members club in the world.